Welcome to First Team Broadcasting's Spotlight, a weekly look at a topic in sports. Today we come to you live from Washington, D.C., our radio headquarters. I'm joined today by Adam Hohen, First Team Broadcasting sports analyst. I am Andy McEnroe. Adam, let's jump right into it. We're talking wild card weekend this past weekend in the NFL, and it was a weekend that unfolded like many people expected would unfold, duplicating Week 17 in the Saturday matchups as the Jets defeated the Bengals 24-14. How did the Jets pull this one off?
I mean, really, it's twofold. The Jets' running attack is really taken off with Sean Green and Thomas Jones really taking over, as well as Carson Palmer has forgotten how to throw a football this season. He's been injured in the past, but really this season the Bengals' offense, ever since Chris Henry had that accident, and their passing attack is just not doing well.
Well, you mentioned Sean Green, 21 carries for 135 yards and 1 touchdown. And more importantly, they simplified the game for Mark Sanchez. He was very effective, 12 of 15 for 182 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. Turnovers are always key in the wild card round. The Jets will advance to play San Diego in the divisional round. How do you think the Jets stack up against the Chargers?
I think the Chargers, similar to the Colts, are going to force teams to have to outscore them because Phillip Rivers and that offense are too dynamic. I don't think the Jets can put up enough points to deal with that.
Well, in the other matchup on Saturday, the Cowboys duplicated their Week 17 success as they knocked off the Eagles 34-14. It wasn't even as close as the score allowed, as from the opening bell, the Cowboys dominated, putting up 27 points in the second quarter alone en route to the victory. Felix Jones was absolutely amazing. In Week 17, 91 yards and a touchdown. In the playoffs, he ran for more than 91 yards. In fact, 178 yards and a touchdown as well. What did the Cowboys do so effectively to neutralize the Eagles' big play offense?
I mean, they really had a good plan of going after Donovan McNabb. They did a lot of rushes straight up the middle, making Donovan get off his spot. And Donovan has had his accuracy problems this year anyways, and when he's moving around, those problems increase. And they really have done a great job in their 3 matchups this year of neutralizing Deshaun Jackson. I think total he has under 100 yards and the one touchdown catch that came late in their 3 games. He's really been a non-factor when he led the NFL in big play touchdowns this year.
The Cowboys had 8 different receivers having at least 1 reception, so Tony Romo did a tremendous job spreading the ball around, 23 of 35 for 244 yards and 2 touchdowns. Cowboys advance to play Minnesota next week in Minnesota. Do they have a chance against Brett Favre and his Vikings?
I think they do, because the Cowboys, partially this is because of the team's play selection, but has really shut down the run in the past few weeks and pitched 2 shutouts down the regular season and only allowed 14, most of those garbage time points, to the Eagles in the wild card round. And really the Vikings offensive line has had their problems. Brian McKinney and Phil Lodeholt, the 2 tackles, are not doing it as well. And I think the Cowboys' pressure can get Brett Favre to turn the ball over.
Where Saturday was much of the same, Sunday was different, as right off the bat you knew it was going to be a special day. On the opening offensive play of Sunday, Ray Rice busted loose for 83 yards, taking the rock to the house en route to helping Baltimore defeat New England 33-14. This marked the first time that New England had lost at home in the postseason with Tom Brady as their quarterback. How did Baltimore's defense stifle the New England offense?
I mean, this one, to me, was not as much as Baltimore's defense being all that good, although they were good, especially Terrell Suggs forcing the strip sack on New England's first drive, really set the momentum, and the Patriots never recovered. But Tom Brady just looked off to me. On his couple of interceptions, the ball was fluttering, and I mean, really, the Patriots never found their rhythm offensively, and it wasn't necessarily that the Ravens were all that great. They were good, but they weren't that good to disrupt that kind of offense. They did that themselves.
Well, Ray Rice on the offensive end for Baltimore, 159 yards on 22 carries and a touchdown. Willis McGahee also chipped in 69 yards on 20 carries. And that Ravens defense you talked about, they overloaded Tom Brady with blitzes, forcing 3 interceptions and 1 lost fumble from Brady, so 4 turnovers. And that is what has propelled the Ravens to travel to Indianapolis next Saturday to take on the Colts. Can they stop Peyton Manning much the same they did to Tom Brady?
I think they can, just because the Ravens do have a lot of pride in their defense. Ray Lewis will never let them not show up for a playoff game, but Joe Flacco's tied a playoff record for passing yards in a win with 34. He will have to show up in the game because Peyton Manning will not be held to 14 points. He will put points on the board. The Ravens are going to have to do it, and the Colts are going to be focusing on the run, and they will make Joe Flacco beat them. And this year, I think he has actually regressed compared to last year, so it could be a real test for him.
We'll have to see how that one unfolds. Well, if you were bored in the first 3 games, you certainly weren't bored with the afternoon game on Sunday, as the Arizona Cardinals defeated the Green Bay Packers 51-45. Kurt Warner gave nearly a flawless performance, completing 33 passes for 379 yards and 5 touchdowns to propel Arizona to the victory. Ironically, in a game where neither offense could be stopped by the opposing defense, it was a defensive play in overtime, though, that captured the victory for the Cardinals as Carlos Dansby brought home the W after recovering the Aaron Rodgers fumble and taking it 17 yards into the end zone, I should say, for the touchdown. This one was all about offense, but can the Cardinals do that when they travel to the Saints next Saturday?
I think next week will also be an offensive showdown. Kurt Warner really just showed why. If there was any doubt last year about whether he was a Hall of Fame quarterback, I think that playoff Kurt Warner alone is a Hall of Fame quarterback. Never mind what he's done in the regular season. His number 2 receiver, Anquan Boldin, a Pro Bowl receiver, was out for that game, and he made Early Doucette and Steve Breston look like all-pro wide receivers. Early Doucette didn't have a touchdown catch in the regular season. He had 2 and 77 yards last. He throws it to anyone and makes anyone a better football player.
Well, it's time now we make our picks for next week. We'll start with the Jets traveling to San Diego. Adam, who are you taking?
I think the Chargers keep their win streak going.
I'd have to agree with you there. Cowboys traveling to Minnesota.
I think the Cowboys get enough pressure on Brett Favre to turn him into to turn him over a few times. I think they pull off the upset.
I'm going to disagree with you there. I think Brett Favre came back for the sole reason to get his team to the Super Bowl. I think the Vikings could be a team of destiny. I hate to use that word, but the Vikings win this one. All right, the Ravens traveling to Indianapolis.
I think Peyton Manning, his 4th MVP season, I think they are an unstoppable juggernaut this season. They roll.
I would agree with you. If I'm picking an AFC Super Bowl team, it's Indianapolis. They should have been undefeated if there hadn't been the removing of players from the second half of games as they came down the stretch. But you know what? That protected some players. So
they don't win the Super Bowl, they'll hear from the fans.
That's for sure. And finally, the Cardinals taking on New Orleans.
I think Drew Brees and the Saints find their momentum. That the Cowboys sort of knocked them off the path for a few weeks, but I think the bye week let them get healthy. I think they take care of business.
Well, we'll hold you to your picks, Adam, there. I'm going to go with the Cardinals upsetting New Orleans in that one. This has been the Spotlight. Next week's Spotlight comes to you live from Lexington, Virginia, as we'll we'll take a look at some Washington athletics in the winter season. We'll update you on everything that's gone on with the Generals thus far and get you set for the second half of their winter season as they head towards spring in Lexington and try to de-thaw. For Adam Hohen, I am Andy McEnroe. Till the next Spotlight, let's keep the spotlight on you.